tobacco bazijjako emitwalo mukaaga mu n'ekitundu
per thousand.
65,000.
every 1,000 sticks of tobacco or of cigar. Now for one and according to Bundi EPRIZE, Jukila Ministry of Health here introduced the Tobacco Control Committee. So it's expected to rise for local manufactured tobacco products. Now, endala importing dua, yes. Zebaita hinge lead cigarettes. Hinge lead cigarettes ziri mu bika bibiri, tulinamu ze tuyita soft cap ezibeerako akagundi ka filter, then wabawo ziri ze bayita hinge lead ze basala. Kaakati ziri hinge lead ezikoleddwa ne Uganda, buli sticks 1,000 kugibwako emitwalo 8.
But have you guys noticed how, if you go back to 2010 and 2025, there's been a reduction in public smoking, especially. Kubanga edda anywhere you'd find people smoking, basude the stick there, but also Stuart, anyone, what about a cigar? I think this is found in casinos.
And kachino chebaita cigars, zebaita churros and cigaros containing tobacco, zijibwako 150% excise duty.
Wow.
And endala good tobacco products endala ezigwa mu bika ebirala zijibwako 160% excise.
You know, in that same light, we have seen the government come out this particular week targeting shisha consumers, and then they showed that a new control committee has been established under the Ministry of Health, that is Dr. Ruth Acheng. So they want to regulate this tobacco consumption, especially on the new tax that the government is proposing to implement.
But you know, Bondi, it's so annoying sometimes that always for winter every week. Naye osanga bagayi nga bakangize awo. It's a place in the city. Near Kampala Casino. Naye ogenda n'olaba bagayi nga bali awo bali mu kufuuwa sigala. Like osanze abayindi bana Uganda, like all these people bali awo and they're smoking and you're like, okay. And they don't care oba waliwo abantu abayitawo oba like tebafaayo tebagana kumanya.
But maybe what we should also know is that shisha is one of those highly toxic products. And it is said that one shisha session, yes, which can last up to 1 hour, exposes users to the same or more toxins as smoking 100 to 200 cigarettes.
Gee, hold it right there. Oh no, four cigar.
Kakati waliwo ono shisha gwe bayina eringo ekyo ne bakuteerawo otsimanya ono ali vanilla alimu biki eoyo. One session wait eya 1 hour is equivalent to you smoking 100 to 200 cigarettes
in 1 hour.
Wow.
In 1 hour.
200. This is a higher dosage of the small
but
stick.
do you know how these people paint it like it's no problem?
It's
because
it's
like
okay.
it's steam,
it's not
what
bad compared to the cigarettes.
So if you take out this flavor of the strawberry, the vanilla, there's nothing interesting about shisha except the addiction that all the time it
I
gets.
think we put the scent so that they don't smell bad, because omani smoking in a certain scent. For instance, the cigarettes, they have their certain scents. So when they put those other the vanillas, the strawberries, awunyendo zanga strawberry, but it doesn't help in any way.
Stuart, Susie has raised a big concern because you realize that in as much as people have transitioned from the small stick, you know, not that they've transitioned, but of course we see that. It looks like the shisha consumption is a higher end of the rich guys, the rich gangs. Because if you go to these public happenings, especially in Kampala, or Jakusanganti, almost every bar, every lounge, every pub
Hotel.
has a shisha.
Shisha
place.
Shisha place, yes, and they're even
Yes.
excluded.
And they're excluded, given room kwegamba.
Usually exterior for them to, but you know that smoke is very etambula.
Etambula.
Ntine baba excluding, it still comes to.
You know, G mentioned healthy living, Nagambanti. Passive smoking is actually more dangerous than the person who is actively doing it. Especially.
And maybe what we also need to know is that the reason why the Uganda government is coming out strongly on shisha usage is, first of all, in 2018, there is a report, the Global Cancer Observatory report. It estimated that approximately 486 new lung cancer cases in Uganda, with 461 deaths attributed to the disease. So now, if you see just one session that is compared to you taking 200 cigarettes, that only equates it to lung cancer. And that is why these cases are rising. So if there is going to be, you know, regulating, you know, these issues and these diseases, the government has to come out right.
But you know, that rate of nicotine avera mungi nnyo, because if you can imagine, in just an hour session of you taking shisha, you have nicotine as much as 100 sticks of cigarettes. That is too much nicotine, and that's why actually chronic bronchitis is actually increasing on the increase, and there is this disease vagita emphysema. Emphysema, and also cardiovascular issues. Ogendo kulaba nti abantu blood pressure limukweyongera, blood pressure yeyongera mu bantu nosanga n'omwana omuto litwali tumanyi nti blood pressure, high blood pressure y'abantu bakulu. Nekati nembavubuka osanga high blood pressure because of the smoke intake, and more so for people who are actually not so much involved.
You know, you mentioned something about tobacco and shisha. But when you look at this consumption, China other things accompany to it, like online gambling, and especially in entertainment places of idle people, where people are idle. Like, tobacco consumption is accompanied by other things, because when you mention that tobacco actually brings more revenue in the country, you realize that also alcohol or wines bring in more revenue.
That's true.
You know? So you realize that these dangerous things, even if in as much as the government comes to impose more tax on them, it's like they give them more strength to press through, you know, because this is what people want at the end of the day.
You know, the issue of addiction
Yes, that's
is addiction doesn't respect price. Addiction normally doesn't respect cost. Omuntu bwabanga ali addicted to something, they would literally do anything to fulfill their addiction and to satisfy it. And most of kati omuntu never banagira ne bagamba nti sigala kuba kati right now on average sigala in Uganda average ali wakati wa syringe lukaga, that is the list. Wakati wa syringe lukaga on average paka ku syringe ziringa syringe kakaga per every stick. Okitegeera, and omuntu asobola okusmokinga a box every day, a box of or even 2 boxes wabeera nga ali gundi. Kati ogenda okulaba nti ne bwe banayongera price ne bwe banateekako emisere gyefaanana gitya, olumu addiction respecting a cost.
You know, the World Health Organization is one of the entities that is believed in so much by so many national national companies or organization or governments. But if you look at the statistics, it showed us 4,807 Ugandans annually dying because of tobacco consumption. And you know, when they broke this down, they realized that 13 people every single day are passing away because of the result of the tobacco consumption. Because you realize that this tobacco is more of the respiratory system, the breathing, the heart, the lungs, which are placed at stake.
Do you know we have 13 deaths per day?
13 deaths per day is a big number.
It's a big number. And you can't imagine, the thing is that it doesn't even discriminate the passive smokers.
Yeah.
Because as a matter of fact, a passive smoker is more at risk than this one who is doing it rightly. But there is something that I don't know even if people know it, that a person that is selling cigarettes is supposed to be 50 meters away from a school.
Can you imagine?
And I don't know if even people know those kiosks kubanga katutugenda ne tusanga nga waliwo abazimbi nga waliwo ki project ky'okuzimba nga arcade kati of course omukyala w'obunyeebwa osigala waki ng'alina buswiti bwawo obiti agenda kujjaawo. Kati if the building is near the school, yabimanyi gana amateeka really. Do you even think people know about that?
Actually, it's supposed to be 50 meters from any window. 50 meters from any window. Omuli abantu, like not only, it's not limited to only schools. It's supposed to be within 50 meters of any public place, workplace, public transport terminal, all any places that provide services primarily to children, and also within 50 meters of any window or air intake mechanism of any public place, workplace or waiting area or a queue. Nebifo bimeka byosanga nga aboluganda balayinize up there bali mukunywa sigala wabo banga oli muntu ali mufuwa sigala naye nga ali kumpi nedirisa awali abantu abangi.
But I think it depends on the maybe the building, because we've been to so many buildings where they tell you no smoking, even in restaurants. But the 50 meters away is not
away from the window.
Yeah, it's not always mentioned, though. There are also people, because they know it's an addiction. They've set up places where you can smoke from. They even have
smoking
the ash
area.
Yeah, they have the ash.
There is this particular hotel that I went to in Kololo. I won't mention the name, but it's kind of Chinese. Oh my God! You guys.
From that time you enter.
oluyingira bwotyo olujja oluyingira lobby bwoti no actually lobby elevator buli floor kwogenda the hotel smells smoke like
it's a hotel
eyina ne gundi ne room bagita like conference hall nene conference hall yennyini naye unye omuka gwa sigala like it's too much.
Don't they have rules that you don't smoke?
Now the whole problem is part of the hotel has a casino which is most attended by Chinese, and when you hear the word casino, just know smoking is very much included
inside the room.
Yes, very much.
But well, we should also know that a whole committee has been fully fledged and set up by the Ministry of Health, which is led by Dr. Agre Ngobi-Byansi. Now, the committee chair committed to intensifying the enforcement of tobacco regulations and holding violations accountable. Now, because by the time the government gets to that extent of setting up a committee, tobacco committee, that means the cases are quite high and they are on the increase, and we should really look out as Uganda.
You know, but there are also policies and regulations that have been in place even before this committee. I feel like this committee is coming out more to enforce. You know, when you look at the 2007 Tobacco Control Convention framework that was put in place, this is just these frameworks, when you realize that, look at things like tobacco, alcohol, and maybe, you know, the gadgets that are used to prevent the transmission of HIV and AIDS. You realize that the government is trying to make sure that people are not taken to the deep end of these things and still stay in check at the end of the day. There's a window also, we expect a lot from this new committee, you know, but we also hope that at the end of the day that many Ugandans will be protected, and of course the mortality rate of 13 people per day passing away can be reduced, maybe to 2 or 1, you know.
2 or 1. But you know, I don't know, this is a habit that has been going on and it has grown. And you realize that very many students or very many people start as passive smokers and they start in secondary actually. Or from their backgrounds, depending on where someone comes from. You realize that if it's a home where a father smokes, it's going to become a habit to most of the boys in the home. Then when they go to school, it is normal. I met as someone who told me every bad habit that I have got when it comes to smoking and drinking, these are things I have got from school.
School?
Yeah, from school, because of the people that we keep around us. Now, if this thing has grown, and you know they usually show us that it's hard for you to let go of an addiction. Now, if you cannot let it go, you're going to easily pass it to another person. That's why I'm thinking it's a bit hard to say that you can just decrease from 13 to 1%, from 13 people to 1 person. It's a bit, it is possible, but it is hard because it's a habit that people have taken up. I know someone who was smoking that tobacco and had a child in the house. Now, with time, these people become selfish. That if you used to do it in fear
of a child,
no, people even seeing you, we've actually lost respect. That if you're home and used to fear your father or your mother to see you smoke, they have gotten so
bold.
Yeah, that now you know, I can do it from home. Now this same guy gets a child, and the child, I think, used to see him smoke. Now this one time I see the child getting that akabiriti. Yes. So I was like, okay, now this is a habit that she has seen. Now it has become normal.
And she's now coveting it.
And now she has been a passive smoker for some time. So if you ever get her doing it, to her it won't be news. I mean, I see people don't do this, so it's normal.
And that's why we need to highlight to parents that actually children learn more by observation. But I want us to highlight on the laws, a few laws that govern tobacco products based on the framework of 2007 that Angel mentioned earlier. Now, ekisooka etteeka ligamba nti ku packaging eya sigara and tobacco products kuyina okubeerako ebifaananyi. There must be rotating health warnings and they are supposed to cover 65% of the front and the back of the tobacco product packaging. Baba balina okuteekako ebifaananyi ebyamawuggwe nga gawumuguseemu ebituli like okitegeera amannyo nga gaddugadde. I think ebifaananyi ebyo, I think they will show them nga amannyo gaddugadde nga gasiiridde, the effect of tobacco on your lungs and death. Babeera balina okubiteekako, and it should cover 65% of the packaging. Era nga bagamba nti tekuyina kubeerako bigambo nga lota. Nga era bino bagamba nti it's misleading words and packaging. Bagamba nti toyina kuteekako nti this particular product has lota oba it has low oba it has light tar or nicotine. Oyina okuteekako the percentages so that omuntu agenda okugula sigala ono ng'amanyi ekirimu. Etteeka eryokubiri, the law prohibits sale of tobacco products via vending machines and the internet and within 50 meters after a school. Naye buduuka bumeka retail shops zetumanyi nga zitunda sigala kumpi n'essomero. Ebifaananyi ebifaanaganako bwe bityo birina okubeera displayed ku packaging oba ku box eyo eyasigala so that omuntu agenda okugula product eyo alina okuba nga amanyi as per the law of 2017. Yes, kakati bagamba nti within 15 meters of schools, stadiums, healthcare facilities and some cultural facilities in other specified locations. In addition, the law prohibits the sale of single cigarettes, small kati omanyi akamu
babujjako
no eteeka bwe lityo bwe lyogera bwe liri, and this is 2007 naye teriri enforced in some places. Eteeka ligamba nti toyina kutunda kamu nti otunze bubiri oba kamu. Bw'oba ogenda kutunda oyina kutundira in a packet and in packaging.
Nalyo terinakola. Omwana gwe batuma
kugenda ndetera sigala wa 10
bamuzinga mukawulire
mukapapula kamawulire. Yes. And it says mu packet obutono and smokeless tobacco products or water pipe tobacco. There is also that what they call water pipe. Never know katabagira. Yes. Ekirala bano abantu abatuma abaana okugenda okugula sigala nakyo tekiri mu mateeka. Yes, era omuntu ali eyo tekiri mu mateeka gwe okutuma omwana okubanga etteeka lino litugamba tokkirizibwa kutunda sigala eri omuntu ali wansi w'emyaka 21. Wansi w'emyaka 21 tokkirizibwa kumuguza. So kitegeeza omuntu ono atunda sigala, omuntu ono ayagala okufuuwa sigala bw'abanga ali waggulu w'emyaka 21 alina ye okwegendera ku dduuka ne yeereetera. So tateekeddwa kutuma mwana ali wansi wa myaka 21. Yes. Tali gwatunda tokkirizibwa kuguza muntu nga ali wansi w'emyaka 21. Anti gundi, this is where I found it a bit challenging. Nti actually bino ebintu tebimanyiddwa. Bino ebintu byonna tebimanyiddwa. Bazadde bameka abatuma omwana agenda ondeeterayo sigala supermarket oba obuti bubiri. Etteeka erisembayo. The Tobacco Control Act of 2015 is the primary legislation regulating tobacco products used in Uganda. It regulates kakati lino lyeteeka kwe tuyimirira ng'ogyeko erya 2007 waliwo eryaddamu ne likyusibwamu erya 2015 era nga lino likugira okufuuwa sigala mu bifo ebiri public. Liri lyabadde litugamba within 15 meters kumpi n'edduuka, kakati lino liprohibitingira ddala bw'obanga oli mu kifo ekiri public omuli abantu abawera 10 n'okusukkawo tokkirizibwa kufuuyirawo sigala.
Bino ebintu bikola kweli kubanga waliwo ka restaurant ke twaliko last week kali kumpi n'egguni n'eddwaliro, amalwaliro 2 waggulu waliwo shisha kwegamba.
Devastating. Stuart, I know like the drugs that are inside tobacco. Well, weekend there is a addiction. Manga tobacco is just one pointer. Wasanga chirimu addiction, chirimu akantu akakusikiriza or is to the longing. Because when you look at also energy drinks, there is that is it called caffeine that always makes you want to take. Then I want to commend the government Okubanti. We have seen these advertisements of cigarettes go down. And media houses have been warned not to allow this cigarettes being advertised on television. And I believe that this has also played a hand in reducing people smoking. Rural areas or Jakusanga, that is where most people, you'll find more people who drink and more people who smoke. People like Mabuaga, Meche, Mindecho. So at the end of the day, I feel like when you look at the smoking places that we have in Europe, they have stations where they smoke. In Uganda, I want to commend the government for the efforts and to talk it is about mango or smoking in a public place. and we still have to make efforts to make sure that we regulate it.
But you know, we're still struggling with our laws being enforced. So that's why you're trying to compare us to Europe. They're successful because their laws are being enforced. That the fines are taken seriously. Here, when a fine is given, like who even follows up?
Problem yaffe eriemu nti olumu amateeka gano gabeera implemented naye ne gabeera ku kyengenda okuyita autopilot. Nti newatabeerawo omuntu agenda newatabeerawo effort kugenforcinga nti lino lirina okuteebwa mu kifo. But I think we should commend the government and the Ministry of Health since they are putting a tobacco control committee. I think we just pray it goes ahead to enforce these laws and put them in place and let the public know by the way nti ebintu ebisinga mubadde mubikola niye nga mubikolera mu nsobi naye buli amateeka gaffe gabeera ku autopilot nga tewaliiwo enforcement, strict enforcement. That's what happens.
But you people, you know, things have changed.
Yeah.
Kati yesterday this shisha, the cigarettes. But Abana chooses there is this thing. It's like a pen. What is it called?
But recently it's called vaping.
Thank you. Abela nako even in a place. Yes.
It is this small.
It's very small.
Okalaba, you may think it's a toy.
Something like akakwata comfortably. Na small. Kati gubere womlaba. Maybe it's a fancy thing they're playing around with. Kumbe mother or your dear father, you have no idea what they put in that. And they're taking it up that, Mommy, it's okay. It's normal, but it is not.
It is being normal, Susie, in addition to that, I feel also companies are becoming more crafty, more strategic to make sure that, okay, you have told us we're going to take out this, let us bring something more better. You know?
And I think some of those are even sold in supermarkets.
Yes.
In like there, you have access. You have
supermarkets.
No, European supermarkets.
But you see, you have to be on the know now because as we are trying so much to make sure that we reduce from 13 people to maybe 5 or 6, new things keep coming in. You should know, okay, I remember when Shisha came, when we had just seen Shisha.
It was everything.
It was
no,
like
it
they
was
were the cool guys.
There is a way they made it so cool.
I got in touch with some guy who supplies the product. Actually, it's the same person who introduced me to. Like, do you know how you walk in a place, you see people having these long pipes, and you're like, what is this?
No,
because try to be the manga Kati, I meet the person who supplies. We met in the corridors, and then who supplies that. I do smanya vanilla, like, and I'm like, okay. So it sounded so cool to them, but it is not. Kati, all about 100 sticks. Kubanga baba gamba. You know, shisha. It's very simple. It's very easy. Like, it's normal. By the way, tekuluaza. But how many people have been affected?
But
because
you know,
what mention is
the cool way of calling them recently in town is vaping, and nayenga they are called e-cigarettes. E-cigarettes, and according to the Tobacco Control Act of 2015, importation of e-cigarettes or nicotine containing liquids to the country, it's prohibited. It's prohibited, completely prohibited. Kakati bazirina, and now obulabi wafatulaba ezo zebayita shisha pots ezo zolaba okwo
dangerous.
Ojolaba 1 hour session of smoking shisha is equivalent to smoking 1,000 sticks of cigarettes.
1,000. And you know they do it for more than an hour because that's their chilling thing.
Man, there are places here in Uganda and the way ladies have been part of the people who are addicted to these shisha pots.
And they find it normal.
Because it
looks cool. It looks cool. It looks cool. There were allegations in some of the places, allegedly. There were places bagamba nti bali bagattamu enjaga.
Yes.
Gatebamanyi.
Bakimanyi.
baba bakimanyi
kusisha waabwe bali just kusisha naye nga actually mulimu enjaga.
But wakitunuliramu, if we are to open that page of Martha who died in that, who passed away in allegations of her spiked, her drink was spiked, you know. The police investigation came out and said, no, this was not being spiked. Like, when you go to these places, there is more that you find out until you guys are there. Maybe having some fun or what. But at the end of the day, there are other tendencies. You creep by people, children seeing you do that observation, they are learning, you know. Kubanga, at the end of the day, this is what we keep saying, that we are a result of the decisions that we take, you know. But how can you help someone that is locked up in that consumption?
I think it starts with you. You as a person, you have to hate the habit if you really, really want to change. It's like an addiction. If you are tired of the habit, you have to hate it first. Because however much I may want to stop Eugene from that habit, when you've not hated it, I'm not helping. That's why we've seen very many people who go to rehab, they come back and they do it again. Now you yourself, you have to tell yourself, you know what, I've had enough. Because now we've discussed, okay, if 1 hour equals to 1,000 sticks, how many hours have you consumed? Because they, you know, suppliers of shisha are very many. It's not just only in clubs. I can choose to call the supplier at home. Nari cola, and they usually also smoke from their home spaces. I mean, people put up parties, they bring some shisha. Yeah, they bring it at home. So it starts with you as a person. Noga, you know what? I am fed up. I need to change my lifestyle. But if you don't, let me tell you, if you don't change your mindset, you shall come back again.
I think in someone changing mindset, I want to believe it goes back to perception. Whenever something is perceived as cool, as so good and trendy and you're not on vogue, that's where it happens. Now, Ogenda Triangle, because they're like, you guys, you've never tried having a vape. You've never tried shisha. Now,
it looks so cool.
That is what we call vapes. There's e-cigarettes. And we better smuggled in the country, and recently, it is so much prevalent in teens. And according to the report, it's 1.7% usage in Uganda. It looks small, but actually it's growing. And of course, these are among the things that are going to be enforced by the tobacco control committee. But perception yonga bw'omuntu. Ebiseera ebisinga, what you call cool and what you call vogue, what you call trendy, is actually something that is going to destroy your life. So it goes back to your perception. Let me tell you, dear viewer, there is nothing cool about shisha. There is nothing cool about tobacco and vaping and whatever you would call it, whichever cool name you give it. There is nothing good about it.
Shisha, Stuart, sorry. Xavier Janet says, I literally thought shisha is the enjaga.
It's not actually, but the ingredients is called shisha. It's predominantly tobacco leaves, then nebagatamo some glycerin, I just wanted to help Jovia Janet, who thought it's enjaga, but it's not enjaga.
But they can mix it in.
They can mix it in, but it's literally actually to get addicted. It's literally the flavor. Kubanga tewaliwo difference with this cigar abantu gwe banywa naye gonde these flavors zebagattamu zezitera okusika abantu really.
Very interesting.
But I want to believe also having honest conversations. By the way, sometimes it's hard to grip this person who is into smoking, shisha and all. But having small honest conversations with time, it helps, because obawamuka time nobango mulaganga, you're having honest conversations. Ogenda okulaba nga omuntu atandise okukyuka yekka. because it is hard.
It
is hard.
So that raises a question. At what age do you think a parent should start telling their children about these things?
These days.
But when it comes to smoking, I think you may not bring it up as a topic, but you could be moving. Remember the first time I saw in Ojise Mindy? The first time I saw a Mindy, I was really like
fascinated.
I think as maybe P1 or P2, my mom showed me an old man, Gatambla, because back in the day it was very normal. Nangamba, do you know what that is? I'm like, no. And they smoke it, but it is not good. Like you get normally, not I'm like, it's bad. What? But you tell them it is not good. It does this. Like at right now, which is but you can easily find someone smoking. So you bring it up. No mgamba. Oh, you see that? That's a bad habit. When you do it, you can get these. If your child can understand, you can go on the internet and show them. But like otandika mpola mpola, no mgambe chibi no bochikola obaboti. If you've had who was a victim nafa because of it, explain more about it. Ngamuto. Then maybe womusanganga kuzi. Then ababiyigidde mu ssomero. It's good to kill that habit immediately. Before they get addicted, because it's also hard to walk out of it. But that's you can also leave the addiction. I know someone who smoked for 15 years.
And they came
I think I have skills. I have bring a jelly muchability, smanya what, neke kumakoka and all that. But now they're out of it. Me I want to believe it is possible if you set your mind to it and you're like, you know what, I want to get well.
Ekitiisa abantu okuva ku smoking and mostly on the substance abuse, mostly is it smokable. It's what they call withdrawal syndromes.
It's bad. It's terrible.
Withdrawal syndromes oba mu lulimi lwa ghetto baziyita andas. Yes, baziyita andas. Andas like withdrawal syndrome ebeera nti bw'ova tugeze omuntu abadde afuuwa enjaga kati bw'agivaako since omubiri gubadde guli used ku gundi eno atandika like omubiri gutuuka nga gugibanja bw'agaana n'atandika okuba ng'omulwadde n'atandika okutintima ng'alinga alina omusujja literally omubiri guli mu kubanja gundi substance eri kubanga gubadde guli used. So kati abasinga babeera tired n'omuntu ali mu kutulaba essaawa eno w'oli oyinza okuba ng'obadde awo nga owulira obikooye bikuswaza naye nga otya the first time you went through the withdrawal syndrome nogamba yekye nnyo noddayo n'ogenda n'ofuna that particular product you are using, but actually osobolera ddala bw'obanga okooye ekintu withdrawal syndrome eyo tebeera forever. Obeera ogenda giyitamu for a little time kisinziira omubiri gwe engeri gikubadde adapted naye singa oguma n'ogiyitamu that is the end of that particular addiction. See, like it's the withdrawal syndrome. Omuntu yali yandaba yakimanyi andaseeyo gy'osinga okutya engeri gy'ogenda okuwulira nga ovudde ku kintu ekyo. But tulina organizations here in Uganda that actually support people nga oyagala okuva ku gundi ekyo abakusobola okuyamba okusupportinga and to rehabilitate you. Tulina an organization called Hope and Beyond. Yes, Hope and Beyond is an organization. You can check them out on their website. It's an organization that actually helps people ababadde bali under substance abuse and smoking. Abantu abo bonna bonna. Hope and Beyond is a go-to place. They can help you, guide you better on how you can get off it. And also, omuntu tasobola kubivaako mulundi gumu nti singa abadde anywa 10 sticks a day. Tasobola kubivaako. You just have to reduce it gradually. Bwobivaako lumu abamu bafundikiranga.
You know, the government is trying to make sure that it raises approximately 19.3 billion as revenue from tobacco. But I believe that it should be extremely very careful because nowadays, in as much as URA wants to increase the tax base, people's health should not be placed at stake. These companies will increase the money, or they'll also find a way how they bring in this tobacco, maybe illegally and other tactical ways of kubanga abana wa business ekyayongera okutambula 50 nti we want the revenue but we still want people's lives to be.
Have you met someone only a number they were addicted to it? So this is medical, like it's allowed.
Allowed, abamu bayinza nokuwa example ya covid
n'aba cancer like aba cancer waliwo oluusi abagamba to take it.
Really?
Simanyi gy'abagamba to reduce on the pain.
That is allegations.
So those allegations.
That is allegation.
Kugamba omuntu ekyakugamba.
Actually, just that is an allegation.
Okay, yes, I was even in hospital one time. Guy Bambinga, he was actually going to die. He got a very bad accident. Nabuzo msao, can I smoke one?
Just
because they have believed it is medical. Naye, I think the doctor didn't respond.
That is literal allegation. Probably, maybe, and maybe, but that is not something medically approved. And our dear viewer, togeza nogera nogamba nti nawulidde balinga bagamba no, it's not medical.
But it's not
it's
right.
allegation, and it's not something we would recommend because it's not medically approved.
Yes.
Nti osobola okubaako endwadde zoona by smoking.
You know, Javier Janet Nagudi says the best time to tell a child about anything is when they are most curious. Those ages between 3 and 6 or more, as soon as they ask or you see an opportunity, you tell them because they learn more. Those are my thoughts. Thank you, Janet.
And I think, but also, omwana oyo bwobanga ogenda ku introducing ebintu bino, be introducing only at that time when ngaali curious. Bw'onakireeta up immediately nga yetasoose kikubuuza, ogenda creating a curiosity and atandike ogenda okukitryinga out. I will tell you, I'm a victim of that. But twali tukyali bato, we used to see our uncles smoking around and tugamba mwe okufuwa sigala kubi, and we netugenda naffe netutandika okuzinga ebipapula. Before you knew it, I was actually smoking for a little time. Twagezaako kunjaga, twagezaako kusigala, like we tried all these things. So, but why? Because we are introduced before our curiosity. So please and please, and ng'omuzadde era gw'ojja kumanya omwana wo bulungi, olina okupenga attention n'omanya nti kati afuuse curious, we need to address this. Yes.
But I think that's why even there is a rise in heart attacks these days, because cardiac arrests are very common. Ogenda okuzuuka nti gundi teyazuukuse, kumbe that chain smoking and.
But me also, maybe one thing I would want to say, I want to believe everybody is entitled to being respected, even from a young age. Go musadde ngo smoking, and you do it in front of your children. I feel like you're disrespecting them.
N'okutuma omwana.
You know, let me tell you, I've been in a room with someone, a relative. He boldly smoked in the room where I was. To me, that is being disrespectful. You know, I do not smoke. As a passive smoker, I don't even know what you do to pass out the air. Kati, you've gone in an enclosed room, like Tuli Kanambem sitting room, and you go ahead and smoke. And parents do these things. I mean, you feel like it's your house. Come on.
And you know I'm sorry. I'm sorry, I must smoke. Is it okay? What do you expect someone to say?
And have you sat in a smoker's car?
Exactly. Na fuira musigala
I know it's your car, but some respect, please. Like, boy smoking up, then where is that for body no abwe?
Actually, bobango sobola, please. Bobango osobola. Wale motoka z'abantu. Naddala gwomanyi nti smoker.
Maybe you're going to do a job, a project, or yes. I'm sorry, I have to do this.
I think waiter got to speak up. Mugamba, please, bobanga osobola, because there are instances in the masses of the other people. Please and please, so calling or else
but you see, now we are talking on behalf of a parent, or actually a child who cannot speak.
Or a wife.
Why? Because they feel like it's your house, but it is not right. Wafuna cancer. then you're going to be crying for us simply because when they take in that smoke, they don't know what to do for it to come out. For you, you know.
And
Please respect people. Yes, even in public places, people stop it. Because you've not seen the warning, don't go ahead and smoke in front of people.
What I think is, from us to the people watching us Ugandans, Sunrise Show, for us we are saying we're on the preventive side.
Yeah.
Yes, the government wants the money, that is all there, but we are awakening you to understand ebintu ebyo nebiri mu byotabo nga vape oyinza okuba nga omusoso okuba nga kalinga katono, even half a pen, I think half a pen, I think. Yeah, so we are awakening you to a place of understanding that if you don't take action now, we're going to raise an endangered generation.
Yeah.
Watali kutia atenga ne lifespan yafe eja kufa from 60 to 40, you know.
Sure.
But how do you want to close this season? In a minute.
You smokers, respect us.
What else?
No, but like it's annoying because some people are allergic to smoke.
True.
And because they're allergic, they won't always paint it in their faces that bananga I'm allergic. With just a little respect, because to akula tumani if you're smoking, but their habits we used to hide. You would hide from people. So just go away. You want to smoke, yes. Find a place where people are not affected. Because we are trying to protect the future generation.
Yeah. Yeah.
Abana, what they see is what they do. I bring my child to you, you do this habit in front of them, then they come home, I struggle with that habit. I'm not saying that the child is going through that, but respect one another. If you're struggling with a certain addiction, don't introduce it to other people. Find ways of keeping it away from them. That's the only way we're going to fight it. That's every day to a lower number, and also change your mindset. Me, I know it's possible. If you've been addicted, if you set your mind that you're going to stop, you can.
Talking about respect and all, I mean, even passive smoking is as dangerous. So the increase of the lung cancers, the heart attacks, cardiac arrests is all because of, you know, these habits. And it is coming from smoke, the nicotine, the addictions that you're seeing among the youth. And where our country is going now is all because of these things of being passive. You know, you're there and it's selfishness, really, honestly. So if we can try to avoid, yes, the government has done a good job. There are designated areas for smoking in almost every bar. But well, how about the passive smoker? Because this is smoke, and it will always go down, up, sideways, and all. And definitely there will always be someone who is affected. So let's respect one another.
I just want to tell you, dear, watulaba bolada mufunga aliwo omuntu ali mufuwa sigala and it's inappropriate in a public place. Speak up. You have a right to speak up to them. Uganda police and police wegayiride ogenda kufulumako ogende 50 meters from this place.
Ne 1 kilometer tujemo
Oba go as far as
mukwano gwange abadde afuwa sigala naye nga ostrugglinga.
Is it called afuta afuwa?
Afuweta is mu Luganda tulina kye tukozesa nedda. Now mu Luganda tulina kye tukiyita nakongeza kikolwa nti kakati ono abadde afuuwa naye kakati bwakikola intensively kifuuka okufuuweeta. So but mukwano gwange, you've been smoking and you're struggling with it, you're struggling with those withdrawal symptoms and asizikulemeddeko, actually there is hope. You can go through it and also ddala okuwangula that particular habit. If you decide, reach out to those organizations bajja kuyamba. And yes.
Well, one of our viewers, Mark, says, I believe for some of them, they are overtaken by addiction. They may want to do the right thing, they addiction nga yabakubye. Only God, my thoughts. He concludes by saying, perhaps we have to do a lot in the area of preventive measures. Well, from us to you, we're on the preventive side, that let's take key actions as parents. N'abaana baffe tubeere nga tumanyi ki ekiriwo. Tuyagala kubeera ng'oli taken by surprise, osanga omwana ng'omututte butabika, for rehab. But ogenda mu rehab ezo abaana abaliyo bana bagagga, ate abaana bangi, abaana yakugamba it started as young as 5 years. So let's be very aggressive and very intentional in raising children and also being there for them. Well, this marks the end of our topical discussion. Mobile Okubera, a great audience and very interactive. Well, for now, I want to call it a close. See you tomorrow, same time, 6:45 to 9 a.m. We say bye-bye. Coming up is kindergarten.